It just seems like before you would show up to Disney and no matter what, you'd have a good time. But now it's like if you don't give Disney every penny you own, you're not gonna have that same experience.
Florida man, Florida man, Florida man, Florida man, Florida man, Florida man, Florida man.
Hello and welcome back to another Florida Man YouTube video. I'm Trevor.
And I'm Jaden. We are here at a very bustling Hollywood studios because we've noticed a change that started since Disney World first opened after the pandemic.
If you have been following our channel for a little bit, you'll know that we've been talking about some of the changes that Disney has made over the past year. And we have evaluated some of their decisions, and we've came to the realization that Disney is doing this for a certain reason.
And we think the reason being is that Disney is trying to actively change the clientele visiting Walt Disney World.
Now, you may be asking yourself, Florida Man, what are you even talking about? Is this important to me? What do you mean that Disney's trying to change their clientele? Well, we are here to tell you that Disney is actively pushing different projects to change their clientele to get a certain base. And that certain base is, people with fatter pockets. Now think of it like this. There's two types of guests at the Disney parks. There's your annual pass holders and there's your general guests. Now your general guests are going to be coming at least once or twice a year, sometimes a little bit more. Now your annual pass holders, they go to the parks more often, however they don't spend as much money. Now Disney knows since the annual pass holders aren't going to be spending enough money, they're going to focus on the ticket guests, which means they want their ticketed guests to spend as much money as they can.
We think that Disney is going after the big fish. These are the people that are willing to spend thousands and thousands of dollars more on certain experiences that your average Disney goer would spend. Now we know that this is a pretty big accusation, but we can explain ourselves starting here at Disney's Galaxy's Edge.
So we've been here, we talked about it, Galaxy's Edge, you live your Star Wars adventure, but when Disney first talked about Galaxy's Edge, there was so much more involved. There was roaming aliens, there was bounty hunters, there were droids, but for some reason when Galaxy's Edge opened, all that was gone.
Every store and restaurant will be operated by local inhabitants, making each experience deeply immersive. Now with these experiences, our guests will truly become part of their favorite Star Wars stories. It will be the first time our guests can immerse themselves in the real physical world that is Star Wars.
Man, I wish that guy would come back. Anyway, we did want to take note of the idea of living your Star Wars story, which did come to fruition when the Galactic Starcruiser opened a few weeks ago here in Disney World.
Most of you may already know about the Starcruiser because it hit the news due to its ridiculous price range. This exclusive 2-night stay experience is between $4,000 and $6,000 depending on the size of your party. And this corridor right behind me is the entrance to the Galactic Starcruiser. The Galactic Starcruiser is exactly what Disney promised. You are living your Star Wars journey. You're going on missions. You're saving Chewbacca. You can choose either if you want to be on the Resistance or the First Order. This is a full Star Wars journey. Now, unfortunately, this amazing Star Wars journey is locked behind a $6,000 paywall.
So to put it into my terms, regular money, no Star Warsy stuff. Lots of money, lots of Star Warsy stuff. Now, to be very honest with you guys, we don't have a problem with Disney having this exclusive, expensive experience, but it's just kind of disheartening from a fan's perspective that they kind of locked it behind this paywall when they promised fans and guests that they were going to be able to experience some broader Star Wars story instead of just walking through a theme park and waiting ridiculous amounts of time to go on rides.
Now, to get back to our original point, the Disney Starcruiser really isn't made for the average family. No regular person is going to spend that $6,000 price range for a 2-night stay. This is kind of geared for the big fish. And for us little fish, we would prefer to spend that money on something that's even better. A regular cruise that's on Earth.
How about like feeding our family? I don't know. Now, nonetheless, the Florida men still think that Galaxy's Edge is a great experience. So don't let the Galactic Starcruiser determine your Star Wars future.
We have left Galaxy's Edge and we are now over at the Magic Kingdom to talk about our next point.
Now, the Florida men have talked about Disney Genie Plus for quite some time and for many different videos, but we are going to bring it back one more time to talk about it in this video.
Wait, we're only going to talk about Genie Plus one more time? Now, just a quick rundown of Genie Plus. Genie Plus is the new FastPass system that took over FastPass Plus. This is a paid system that lets you choose one ride at a time that has very specific windows.
Now, I don't know if it's clear enough, but the Florida men do not like Disney Genie Plus. In the previous FastPass system, you were able to choose 3 rides in advance, and now you can only choose 1, and this one is $15 per person, whereas before it was completely free.
Now, how does Genie Plus relate back to our original point that Disney's trying to push out their clientele? Well, take a look back at FastPass Plus, a free and fantastic system. Now compare that to Universal and SeaWorld where they have a paid FastPass system. I think FastPass Plus encouraged more families to spend more money at Disney because they offered free programs like FastPass Plus.
If you buy Disney Genie, that makes you a weenie. Now, Trevor, do you think that it ends with Disney Genie Plus?
No.
Really quickly, we think that Disney has added a few more things that create a sense of exclusivity in the parks.
Now, after Disney reopened after the pandemic, they had a reservation system, and for a while it was great because it helped limit the guests in the park. But now the reservation system is still up and running, but look at the crowds. Now, it's clear that the reservation system is no longer used to keep crowd control low while it's easier to social distance. Instead, it's kind of used to keep a certain amount of annual pass holders and a certain amount of day guests in the park. Now, riddle me this. Why are the parks as crowded as it was even before the pandemic? Meanwhile, the reservation system is still up. And the craziest part is, as pass holders, we're sometimes locked out of the parks, even with no blackout dates. So explain to me, what's this reservation system for?
Really quickly, we want to talk about annual passes at Disney because they just released the new prices for them. And if you don't live in Florida, you can only buy the top tier annual pass.
So it's obvious that Disney's really trying to cater to the big fish. That way they can limit the amount of annual pass holders who are in the park and compared to the day guests. I, for one, can't get reservations for certain parks certain days. However, if I were to buy a one-day ticket, I can go into any park that I want. Now, when you look at all this together, it all kind of makes sense between how Disney treats their annual pass holders, to the reservation system, to Genie Plus.
But the Fast Pass system isn't the only free thing that Disney got rid of.
Another free experience that Disney got rid of was the Magical Express, which took you from the airport over to your resort.
So, the Disney Magic Express was a complimentary service that picked you up at the airport and would bring you to your resort. It would actually drop you off right behind me, and the entrance to the resort is right there.
This is what created the Disney bubble. Basically, with Disney's own transportation, there was no need to rent a car and there was no need to go to any other theme park, restaurant. You were stuck in Disney's community. And Disney loved that because all the money that you're going to be spending is just going to be on Disney's property. But shortly after the 50th anniversary, Disney's contract with Mears, who organized the Magic Express, ended, and soon they started charging for the Magic Express.
So the prices for the current version of Magic Express is only $32 round trip for adults and $27 round trip for children, which is not that expensive, but considering all the other stuff that we mentioned in this video that you're gonna have to pay for to get an experience, it adds up.
So again, why spend money for an experience when you can put that money towards something else, like renting a car? And that way, you'll be out of the Disney bubble and you're able to do more things. Now, how does this relate back to our original point? The new Magic Express pushes families out of the parks because it no longer gives them incentive to stay on property and stay in the Disney bubble. Instead, these families are going to compare and contrast and look at other resorts such as Universal and SeaWorld, and that will give them more incentive to stay there. Because when there's no Disney bubble, what's the point of staying at Disney?
Now, the ones who are willing to spend that money may be willing to stay in the Disney bubble and may be willing to spend more money on other Disney experiences.
It's almost like a gateway. If you're willing to spend all this money to stay in the Disney bubble, you're more willing to spend even more money on the experiences in Disney, like the Starcruiser, like buying lightsabers, like getting the droids. Disney's trying to get all the big fish to stay in the Disney bubble.
Wait, don't move.
Now, why is the Disney bubble so important? What it does is it confines the guests to the park. So that way the only thing they can spend money on is Disney's food, merchandise, and experiences. Now Disney has a wide variety of food options, and some of these experiences are absolutely insane. For example, Be Our Guest was one of the coolest quick service restaurants before the pandemic.
So they took a relatively reasonable and cheap quick service, which is Be Our Guest, an amazing experience right behind us, and now it is a table service.
That quick service option was nice for lunch because at dinner it turned into a table service. So families can still experience Be Our Guest at a cheaper price tag. Additionally, Disney opened up Space 220, which is an amazing surreal experience. However, it has a very expensive price tag, which makes it harder for the average family to enjoy it. Now we're going to be finding a lot of restaurants with really cool experiences with a hefty price tag, such as Cinderella's Royal Table and California Grill.
Merchandise. The Florida Man talked about merchandise so many different times on our channel, and we think that Disney is not only increasing the price of the merchandise, but also creating a merchandise culture in the parks. Now, whether it's like a Figment popcorn bucket or some sparkly, magically Bluetooth ears, Disney is coming out with new merchandise, and it's becoming more and more expensive, and people are still buying it.
With all this being said, let's quickly go back to the Disney bubble. Once you're at Disney, you're stuck at Disney, and you're stuck buying their expensive food, their expensive merchandise, and their expensive experiences.
So, to put a point to all this, to conclude to all this, we think that Disney is trying to change their clientele within the theme parks.
It's becoming increasingly harder for families to enjoy the parks like it was before the pandemic.
And the people that are willing to come and experience these experiences by paying a lot of money may be more enticed to spend more money on other things such as food, merchandise, Genie Plus, etc.
I know for the past few videos we've been bashing Disney, but truth be told, we love Disney. We loved Disney before the pandemic, and we don't want to see Disney become this commercial cash grab where they're just trying to get the big fish and get rid of the medium and small fish.
Now, the Florida Men do realize that Disney was expensive before the pandemic and it wasn't easy to come here, but we feel like they did give you some breaks in some areas such as the fast passes and dining. Now, do you guys think that these price differences are a big deal, or do you think it doesn't matter and you're still going to come here as much as you did and do the same experiences that you used to do?
We would love to know what you guys think. Do our points make sense? Have we been rambling for the past 10-20 minutes? Let us know what you guys think. Until then, we will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.
Well, we're gonna drive past it, and then after we drive past it, you're gonna say, look, there it is, and then I'm gonna be like, no, we're not getting in there. Nonetheless, the Florida Men still think that Galaxy's Edge is a great experience, so don't let this limited experience, I can't say experience 2 times in a row, because that wouldn't make any sense.
All right, ready? Go.
Wait. 32 plus that. All right, 3. Now, Trevor, does it end with Disney Genie Plus? Now, Trevor, does it end with Disney Genie Plus?
No.
Now, Trevor, do you think it ends with Disney Genie Plus?
No.
We think that Disney... It landed on my shirt. I wonder what happened over there, Trevor.
I don't know. I don't understand it.
Hey, I need something to say. Let me think of something. Hold on. Don't record. Please, Trevor. I can't do this. Ow.
I hope you guys are enjoying at home this documentary of Jaden after leg day.
No, it's not a joke.
It's amazing. Any slope of any degree,
Let
this
me
kid
explain
is
myself.
suffering.
Let me explain myself with this glow stick. Listen. I switched out my program. I usually don't do barbell squats. I hit barbell squats. Put a little bit too much on the bar yesterday. And I did stretch and everything before you start complaining. Let me explain. And then I put like, I don't know how much I put on the bar, but it was too much. I only got like 3 reps, and it, you know, I haven't done barbell squats in a while. So when I threw them up, I didn't throw up, but I almost did. But when I did it, I couldn't push it up anymore. I went to failure on a barbell squat. So What was I saying? Right. And now today, 2 days after, I can't walk. Yesterday I could barely walk. And it's really hindering our video performance, as if the video content itself wasn't hindering the video performance. Anyway, go ahead and do me a favor and unsubscribe, because that rant was too long, and we hope you guys enjoyed watching. Cut it right now.